Welcome to our executive group meeting. We're going to be discussing rules of engagement and also Townsend's 8 steps to a difficult conversation. As we're going through this process, we're going to have some difficulties arise with either resistance or not understanding the situation or communication gaps. Those are some of the various things that we will deal with, but we do want to start off with discussing the ground rules that we have for this particular meeting. So thank you all for being here. So the ground rules. First one will be making Super Mega Biz and an organization that people want to be a part of. What is it that draws people here as a customer? But as we're sitting around in this room, what makes it most important for you all to be working together as a team, in a sense, being a part of the Super Mega Biz family? The second ground rule is that we will commit to getting to know each other on a personal level. That, I believe, is everyone's personal goal, to understand more deeply who we work with, who do we share office space with, what does it mean to understand what another is going through each day. The third ground rule, we will prioritize our efforts on the execution of our strategic plan. So what needs to be number 1, number 2, 3, 4, etc.? What's the most important thing to this team and most important to this organization? Number 4, we will be accountable for achieving our goals and doing what we say we will do. So very important. If your role says you do A, B, and C, you need to complete A, B, and C. And then there's the factors of how well we achieve each of those goals for our role. Ground rule number 5, we will treat each other with respect. As we share ideas, insights, perspectives, maybe thoughts of frustrations or maybe hurt feelings, that we respect each other. Any idea is a great idea until we do a little more research on it, but it's not a bad idea. But let's treat each other with respect as we present options for one another or to one another as we pursue this goal together, this process. Number 6, ground rule, we will support collaborative decisions of the team, even if we disagree individually. So taking our own biases out of the room, out of the situation, out of the decision making. Personal ideas may not always work for the whole collective part of what we're trying to do here, what it is that we're trying to accomplish as a company. Let's look at the goals of our collective company and organization, how best to move forward. And so collaboration, where we come to some agreement on how things are to be done or what our product is going to be or how we go about doing an evaluation or assessment or an analysis. Number 7, we will engage in honest and open communications at all times. When we have difficulties communicating, that's where confusion happens. That's where maybe too many bold typed words mean that someone is frustrated when maybe it's just purely by accident hitting the wrong key. Little things can happen and it's not always intentional, but if there is intention in how we want to share our concerns or frustrations, we need to do that in a genuine manner. So again, engaging in honest and open communication. And let's make sure that honesty is beneficial, that it's not an honesty that is critical but constructive. Number 8, we will not jump to conclusions, but rather ask for clarification. Again, this comes down to another element of communication where we don't have the full picture or the full story. So we try to take the information that is incomplete and wrap it up in some sort of summarization, and it's not the intention of what that information was. So ask for clarification, ask questions, and for those that are being asked the questions, don't feel offended as if you're not sharing something in a very clear way. It may be that some people just need to hear the same information packaged in a different way. We will participate in each other's development as leaders in this organization. So we need to have an agreed partnership in how we will allow each other to be shaped in a way that is beneficial for this company. How do we shape each other? How do we form each other in a way that will be beneficial for our team members as well as those that work in each of our management areas or divisions? So we want to be able to, as the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. So, having the ability to take other experiences in our team and be able to share those with others and be able to address issues and concerns in more of a unified way rather than each team leader trying something different on their own. Each team is unique, but let's kind of come from this at a more unified approach. Number 10, finally, we will celebrate the team and individual successes. So as a team celebrates, other teams can aspire to complete what they have done as well. And then the individual, as one individual works really hard for the team, let's celebrate the fact that they have put in a lot of work and effort to make sure that that team is successful. Let's celebrate the individual who participates and contributes to that result. All right, as we get to a difficult situation, where there's either resistance or feelings of contention or maybe some anger or feelings of disappointment, let's see if we can address those together in a way that is helpful and not something that causes a bigger divide or a wedge. So have that stance of I respect you and I am for you, being that we are not taking the approach of, well, you should know better than doing that, but let's start off with a very positive approach that lets someone feel safe, that they feel like they have our respect for them, for him or her. So that's the first step. Just in that first 30 seconds, try to do that. Make sure that person knows that they can be listened to, that you can be approachable. B says you can't approach the person with anger, frustration, impatience, or disgust. You need to be calm and in control of your emotions. You have to speak to the judge and the person in the first 30 seconds. An example would be, spouse, I need to share some thoughts and feelings that might be hard to hear, but before I do, I want you to hear how much I love you. I enjoy your relationship. And there are so many good things in you that I respect, and I'm glad to get to experience from you. That doesn't always happen, but this is an example, and we want to use a good, healthy example. Or a friend. I have some things that might be hard to hear, but we will get through it, and I want you to know I am for you. I enjoy our relationship, and I want us to grow closer. In the Bible connection, Ephesians 4:25 through 27 and verse 29, therefore each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor, for we are all members of one body. In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you're still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Second step, state the conflict or situation that needs to be confronted. First part here says quickly and do not go on and on, but specifically state the concern. Have some examples, usually in performance, attitude, or behavior. And then do your homework once the situation or conflict has been brought up to you. Do some background research as to who all is involved and what the situation was centered around. As Paul was very specific with Peter, he did it immediately. He didn't beat around the bush. And the same with Jesus and the Pharisees and the disciples. Just get right to the point. Own your contribution. So here's the contribution I've made to the problem. For example, I haven't addressed it sooner. I wasn't clear. I didn't resource you. I apologize. I'm a part of the problem. And then very few times it's 100% them. So own up to it. Don't project it onto someone else as well, but be honest and truthful about the situation. This helps that person feel that you aren't there to beat them up. And this kind of levels the playing field, especially if you are their superior or their supervisor or line manager. And then this is just another step in that safety that we're building for people to feel safe about who they are talking to and having no consequence for bringing up a situation. Matthew 7, verses 3-5 says, "Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, 'Let me take the speck out of your eye,' when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye." So number 4, hear them out. You have to give them their day in court and hear them out. And take the posture of, I want to understand your perspective. And then B says, you may get information that will change your conversations, such as a wife being sick, having to leave house because of a foreclosure. People come through the doors at the beginning of a workday with lots of things resting upon their minds. And it's another way for them to be able to share and express, and for you to understand their perspective that particular day. Again, another way to create safety. Some will start to divert, so give them 2 or 3 minutes and don't go down rabbit trails and defend or explain, just simply listen. And that's the posture what a coach will do, is just simply to listen. Let that person speak their heart and mind. And then letter E, 5 magic words. After 2 or 3 minutes, you then say, let me get back to you. If it is your meeting and you can be in control in a good way, that is warm and strong. And then request change with a win-win stance. So reach out a few times a week, sharing information with someone you look down on and not connect to others in the office, so you need to look up to. You need to jump to listen to other perspective entirely before you jump in, and you need to meet 4 out of the 5 next deadlines. So those are some things that we really need to help them to sort out, so that they don't feel so much of this pressure. But despite all these things they've got to do, have the win-win stance. And then natural consequences, some don't need them if they respond well, or depending on the area that you are confronting or how many times you have confronted them. Consequences will be consequences, just natural form. If it is hard for the person is not buying it, you may need to create some losses or consequences of your own, such as written reprimand, start demeaning, I will leave the conversation, or just keeping a warm distance. And then be very blunt. When you lie, I will not cover for you. And then return to the I am for you stance is the one final step in creating this safety net, or this safety barrier. All grace is poured in to counteract any internal judge that might be beating them up. Number 7 continues with an example. We just had a tough talk, and I want to remind you that you contribute in very important ways to our team, and I want you to win. I think that's what we all want for the success of the corporation. And then doing a check-in. Do you feel criticized, or or you feel like I'm going to fire you, or don't believe you have my respect? So do some check-in points. And then check back in 24 hours. give it an overnight and a next day time frame. How's it going since our last talk? One final infusion of grace and safety. So how will we promote safety? What we say here will remain here, be able to share honest thoughts, the confidence in knowing that what was shared between others in this place will be honored. It's going to take all of us. And how will we address this current conversation and stay connected to each other? Just like the body needs a healthy diet, so does the body of an organization. Unhealthy habits do nobody any good. And your people and your teams will need to form healthy habits to communicate and cooperate for this organization to function in a healthy way. It'll take intentional exercise, practice to make us stronger. Team leaders will lead by example, effective communication skills such as active listening, understanding true concerns for teammates and other team members. And then again, personal check-ins. Sometimes just the simple act of asking someone can mean a lot to that person. And then to handle this in the future, team leaders will lead by example, effective communication skills such as active listening, understanding true concerns for teammates and other team members, and taking concerns immediately to the proper manager or supervisor. Open communication upward, downward, and side to side. Utilizing these 8 steps of conflict process, the hope is that it's not every step will be needed or necessary, but the resolution system is here for your use. And thank you for your participation and your attention today.